Guys, all right. So I want to actually talk a little bit about the Runleader Captain multifunctional meter. Okay. Um, I chose to make the video whilst it's dark so that you can see the beauty of the backlight of the multimeter. It's around 4 a.m. about a few minutes to 5 a.m. in the morning. 5 a.m. is already in the morning. Yeah. Uh, okay, so first of all, I want to talk about the pros and cons of this beautiful tachometer. And I should have gotten this earlier after I bought my uh, engine for the for the bicycle. But at the time, I didn't know of its existence until after some time. But finally, I got it, and I can say that I really love how it works. With this meter, you can be able to um, check the um, engine temperature of your engine, the voltage of your battery, the speed at which you're traveling, and a whole lot. Actually, it has three themes. It has three themes that you can actually set by default. I'll later put on the flashlight so you can see the screen. I mean the face of the meter. It has the running time theme by default. That is ART. So far, ever since I got the meter, I've used about 22 hours 41 minutes. And then we have the odometer theme as well. And ever since I got the meter, it has run for 429.9 kilometers. My favorite one is the RPM. You saw from the beginning that whilst the engine was running, the RPM was over there. So it has some cool features. Um, okay, now let me put on the backlight. Sorry, the flashlight, so that you can look at the meter properly, and then take a look at the bike. Alright guys, here I am with the flashlight on. The name of the meter is Runleader Captain, model number RL-HM400. So you can see it on the screen, on the face. We have the menu, the sets, and then the up and down buttons. I will leave the link in the description so that anybody who is interested can get a piece of it, and read more about the features. And one thing I would say makes me love the meter is it gives me every information I need about my engine. So for instance, when I'm going on a long journey, I don't need to worry about the engine temperature. I don't have to be guessing. Yeah, I can see everything right on the screen, know the speed at which I'm traveling, and then also know the RPM of my engine. um, this light, there are two lights at the top here. The one on the left is red in color, and the one on the right is yellow in color. The red one blinks when you are it serves as an alarm when you are exceeding a particular limit that you set by default yourself. That should be probably your speed limit or RPM limit or temperature, engine temperature. So when that happens, you see that the red LED begins to blink. Then the yellow LED is a reminder for maintenance. So you can set, it has the ability to remind you of when to change your spark plug, when to change your air filter, when to change your fuel filter, and all of that. Okay, so one that is those are the good things about it. And then let me go to the
some of the disadvantages, pros and cons. So let me go to the cons. The one reason why it would be difficult for a motorized bike user to use this meter, which is the biggest so far that I know of, is that even though it has an internal battery, it needs to charge from time to time, which you can do by hooking it up to some 12 volts battery after you see that there is a low battery indicator on the screen. Other than that, then, but when that happens, without a battery powering it, and if it's using only the internal battery, the backlight cannot stay on for too long. It only stays on for about a couple of seconds when you press any button. Yeah, so when you're riding in the night, you can't read anything on the screen. That is the disadvantage. However, I have a battery. I actually built my own battery using the 18650 batteries, about 4 of them hooked in series, which gives me 16.8 volts at full charge. Currently, I'm running. Yeah, I'm gradually running low. So it's 16. I said it's now at 16.2. Okay, so everything, my battery and everything is in this small box over here. In some other video, I will display. I'll open it and disclose to you exactly what I did inside it. Then we have the uh, engine. This is the spark plug cable. Okay, so you can see that there are some few winds of wire around one of the spark plugs. That is to help get the engine RPM. There are two wires, a red and a black one. So the black one is actually mounted somewhere on the engine case, and then the red can be worn around any of the spark plug. I use two, so if by default you are using one, then you should just wound it around the spark plug cable. Okay, and then I have my headlights and my horn, and then my yeah. So that is one of the disadvantages of using it. And then actually when mine came, there was this error about
it being able to read the speed. The hall sensor, which was used to make the speed sensor, was faulty,
so it wasn't able to read the speed accurately. But when I spoke to the seller, she understood and then sent me a new speed sensor, which is fully functional.
but then before the arrival of that one, I had already improvised. I used one uh, from my old bicycle uh, computer. It's not a hall sensor. It uses some mechanical switch to detect the speed. So it only uses two terminals, but then the hall sensor uses three. But after I experimented on the cables of the hall sensor, I realized one is for power, the other two is for the switch. So I just took out the power cable and then hooked the other two to the mechanical switch, and then it raised my speed perfectly. Yeah, that was long before. So I now have a spare speed sensor, which is the hall sensor, or which uses the hall sensor. So another thing, um, but that may not happen to everyone. Okay. So another thing too is that I've realized that the average speed is never calculated. I think it's a firmware or software issue. Yeah, it's always zero, no matter how what distance you've covered or what speed you traveled at. It is always zero. That is another disadvantage. I love to most of the times know my average speed after a trip, but then I can't get it on this. Aside that, everything else is cool. But remember, this is a device, an electronic device, and sometimes, even as new as it is, it can sometimes malfunction. For instance, yesterday I had a hard time troubleshooting uh, one problem, which was I realized that the cable connector for the temperature sensor was having a loose contact.
and as a result was giving me false temperature readings, very insane ones. Even whilst it's at room temperature, it can give me something like 70 degrees Celsius and stuff. So I had to even open the meter to see whether there was some issues there before later on tracing everything to finally realizing that the cable connectors had a loose terminal. Yeah. And then the last disadvantage is that you could see that the cable connectors are all, apart from the speed sensor who has 3 terminals, all the other ones are all having two terminals, or 2 pins each. And the only way to know which is the labelings on the cable. So whilst installing this, you need to be very careful, because if by mistake you hook the power input to maybe the speed sensor input, or speed sensor is already 3, maybe the induction sensor or temperature sensor input, you are going to end up frying the circuit of the meter. So you should be very careful when doing the installation. Yeah, I think aside that, that should be all. So I'll leave the link uh, to the products in the description, so that any of you who is interested can get it. It's cool. It's a cool meter. With this, you can see everything about your vehicle. You can see all the details about your vehicle. The only thing it cannot tell you is the full the fuel gauge or the fuel level. So for that one, you just open your tank cap to look inside and know how far you've gone. All right. So but apart from that, everything else can be seen from the screen. So that should be all for now. Thank you so much for watching the video, and uh, peace out.